The reality of living in America is most people have no idea. No idea what America actually does outside the United States except what is given to us by the official narrative. But the thing is that usually shows a very curated take on America's actions and the consequences of the government's policies all over the world. The thing is, a couple years ago, Ukraine was everywhere in the media in America, but now most people don't even know it's still going on. They really have no idea where the money is going. At least that's what we think. We're told that $40 billion is going to the Ukraine, $60 billion is going to Ukraine. We don't know what that's for. We all think that it's going right to the front line, but that's not exactly the case. And this is why most Americans think that we are so generous when it comes to our relationship with our NATO allies and all the action that's happening in the Ukraine, that we're the ones who are actually paying for everything. We're still the ones that are footing the bill, even though Trump's been in office for the past year and we've essentially stopped all funding, all true funding to the Ukraine. The reality is we're not doing our part, and the rest of the world knows that, especially Europe, because let's be honest, that conflict is right on their front doorstep. And America has the privilege of being thousands of miles away from the actual front lines or the potential risk of a Russian incursion into Europe. But we have to wonder where all that money actually went, right? I mean, look at the map of the Ukraine right now. Has anything really changed? All the money that's gone into it, all the billions and billions and billions of dollars that we believe could help us here, that we believe isn't actually ending up in America. That's exactly what you should be asking if you're paying attention. I'm going to let you in on an open secret here. Like I said, the rest of the world knows this, but in America, it's purposely kind of been shuffled under a bunch of very boring named folders and bills. But we aren't running a charity, we're running a business. And this is what happens, I guess, when you have a businessman in charge. When the conflict in Ukraine first started, America was essentially emptying its arsenal and throwing it to the Ukrainian and Russian front. And in that you can see, yes, this was a charitable, you could say that, but those days are over. Like I said, since really the beginning of 2025 with the new administration coming in, America's role as the arsenal of democracy has shifted to the nation that has a monopoly on arms dealing to this specific conflict. Let's start with the biggest lie that we've all been told on this one, and that's that we're just throwing suitcases of money at Zelensky left and right. The fact is we haven't done that in quite some time. We're doing something that's called the PURL, the Prioritize Ukrainians Requirement List. Yes, it does sound boring. And that's on purpose because in Washington, things with boring names, usually that's where all the money actually is. So here's how the scam works really. The UK, Germany, or Norway want to help the Ukraine. But the thing is, they don't have enough air defense missiles in their warehouses anymore. They've been depleted. So they have to buy them. And where do they go to buy those? The United States of America. And that's because it's open 24/7. The fact is they can't rely on Germany or other European nations to actually supply these things. Their ability to manufacture these products at the rate that they're needed isn't there, even though many countries in Europe right now are trying to gear up their manufacturing abilities so they can actually supply the Ukrainian conflict without actually having to buy items from the US at a very high premium. How it works is the Europeans write a check, and that check doesn't go to the Ukraine, that check goes to a bank account in Washington, D.C. And from there, that money is taken and pays a defense contractor. And that defense contractor in Arkansas or Arizona, Georgia, wherever he may be, they go ahead and get to work. Now, this stat should make you angry because according to the American Enterprise Institute, or even our own Secretary of State, at this point, 90% of all money in aid that's slated to go to Ukraine never actually leaves the border. It stays here and pays American wages. It funds American pensions and buys raw materials from the United States. This is essentially a massive job program wrapped in a foreign flag. We may think that we're running a charity. We may be told that by our government, but the fact is we are strip mining our allies. We are strip mining the middle class of Europe to reindustrialize the Rust Belt. And we dare to call that charity. Now, if you're an American and you're watching this, you're probably thinking, hey, large man, we get jobs, they get freedom, it's a win-win, right? No. The thing is, the business of war operates on a completely different timeline than the reality of war. And in that gap, in that transition, that's where tragedy actually happens. See, when a European country actually places an order through the PURL. It enters the corporate bureaucratic structure in America. Contracts are signed, raw materials are sourced, production slots are allocated. It's very efficient. It's very corporate, and it's also very slow. The truth is, since the institution of the PURL, it takes 18 to 24 months for one of these orders to actually get filled. But on the battlefield, the conflict isn't going to be waiting 18 months now, is it? And this is the part that really gets dark. According to the Human Rights Monitoring Mission, civilian casualties in Ukraine spiked 31% in 2025. And why? Because the air defense missiles ran out and the order for their replacements was stuck in that corporate process. We created a system where the Ukrainian infantry essentially has to buy time with their lives to wait for Washington, D.C. and American military industrial complex to actually fulfill that order. If we really boil this down, it's just a matter of which side has the resources that they want. If you're on this side and you have howitzers and you only have 5 rounds, but your opponents have 50 rounds, you with 5 rounds are going to lose ground. You're going to lose lives. The delay to fulfill these orders and get the product to the battlefield isn't just an inconvenience, it's a ledger of lives. And that ledger is very much so in the red. So Europe is draining its treasury and Ukraine is draining its manpower. But the question is who's winning? And that's where you have to follow the backlog. As of early 2026, Lockheed Martin was sitting on $196 billion worth of backlogs. That's guaranteed revenue. These companies are booked solid to 2032. And if a negotiation happened and a peace deal was struck tomorrow, these people would still be on the line for the next 5 years to pay for these orders. So this is the triangular wealth transfer. We're moving capital from the European middle class to the American military industrial complex, using the conflict in Eastern Europe as a transaction mechanism. And it's not just missiles either. Ever since the pipelines were cut, Europe buys its gas from the United States. We sell LPG to them for 3 to 4 times what we actually pay here at home. And this is why Europeans are so upset about being so dependent on the United States, because not only are we charging them for their shield, but we're charging them to keep the lights on as well. So are we the United States actually helping? Yes, we're helping ourselves. We're securing our dominance. That's what we are doing. We're draining the resources and the munitions of our economic opponents, our allies, and revitalizing our manufacturing base. And we're able to do all this without risking a single American soldier. If you really think about it, at least as far as my memory goes, this is the most ruthless, effective geopolitical maneuver of the 21st century. But here's another question I have for you, my fellow Americans. Do you think that a system that is this cynical is going to take care of you? If they're willing to strip mine their closest allies for a quarterly profit, what do you think that they're going to do with your pension? What do you think that they're going to do with your savings when the bill finally comes due on the massive amount of debt that America has? If you think that's bad, if you think that Europe is going to take this fleecing without a fight or without any kind of consequence to the United States of America or the American people, then you were just woefully uninformed. The fact is, the military-industrial complex here in the United States has become too expensive and a new power rises. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. Listen, this whole thing, this whole deep dive that I've been doing, understand that most Americans have no idea about this. They think that their money is genuinely going to help the Ukrainians. They think that we're still giving them free stuff. And like I said, that's just part of the propaganda machine. Now, this does have a real effect on the lives of Americans, middle class, working class people. These contracts that need to be filled, they create jobs, but the job market, this job program is dependent on this conflict continuing and not stopping. And that's why America truly isn't doing anything to genuinely stop the conflict in Ukraine. It just isn't. And there are theories, and I think that they logically make sense. If you do everything that you possibly can to deplete your allies, if you make them weaker by depleting their warehouses, by depleting their treasuries, and then you slow down the supply chain on purpose to the front lines of a conflict that you have fully endorsed since its conception a few years ago, then the only benefit that this change, this movement into the PURL, the only person who's actually benefited from that is American corporations, the military industrial complex, and the Russians. The fact is, when America stopped the goods automatically going to the front lines, more and more Ukrainians lost their lives. More civilians in the Ukraine lost their lives. When infantry movements came in from the east, typically Ukrainians on the front line, they would call in an artillery strike. But when there's no artillery rounds that are actually on the battlefield, then those infantry units, they have to dig foxholes and just try to maintain that line with the overwhelming Russian meat wave coming in. And we all know the same thing. We can talk about peace talks happening and why they haven't happened and who's to blame for that. But we also have to keep in mind the toll that this conflict has actually had. Now, the Ukrainians have lost around 500,000 lives in this conflict, and the Russians have lost 1.2 to 1.8 million lives as well. When a toll of casualties is that high, the leaders of these nations simply can't compromise. They need to win. So I'll let you draw your conclusions on this one, but honestly, it rubs me raw as a veteran, as a patriot, as somebody who loves this country. This is a very hard thing to see, and especially to know that many of my countrymen have no idea what's going on. You know, this is kind of an ignorance is bliss thing, because if most Americans knew that the United States government was fleecing their European allies and purposely holding back the defensive abilities of the Ukrainians, I imagine there would be quite a blowback. So I hope this actually gets out there to the American people more, so you can actually know what's going on. We've always had more of an international audience on this channel, but this is very important that the American population actually understands, because this is more than just showing your support through a bumper sticker on your car. This is about actually holding people accountable and holding them to the oaths that they've taken, the things that they're honor bound to actually see through to the end. And knowing that we have a track record in recent past of kind of abandoning our allies when they're at the most vulnerable. Think of Iraq, think of Afghanistan. Think of the amount of countries that are beyond count that we've had silent operations in. This is something that, as somebody who believes in honor, finds incredibly disturbing and heartbreaking and fills you with anger. And I don't think that the reaction is to check out and be like, you know, I'd rather just live in ignorance again. No, I think it's to get angry. I think it's to foster that coal of resentment towards these people that are abusing the authority that you've given them, and let it actually kindle into something. But I think we need more hot coals to actually kindle whatever may be in the future. But if you're still here at this point, like and subscribe, hype the video. Let's get this one out to the American people a little bit more, right? Let's get a good conversation and actually let them in on what the rest of the world knows. The thing is, as things get more difficult and as our allies leave America behind, which they are currently working on doing, things are going to get a lot more difficult here in America as our allies move further away from us and our trade systems really break down. The supply chain of what goes to the grocery store, the pharmacy, Walmart, the mall, everything's going to slow down. Everything's going to get more expensive. And with the devaluation of the dollar, that's going to have a compounding effect on anything that we want that's imported, and America is reliant on imported goods. So quite a profound effect on every aspect of our economy and country. But that's another reason why I always say, hey, divest from the US dollar while you can. You can always, through an app, move your US dollar into euros, into Swiss francs, into British pound, whatever you think is going to work stronger against the dollar, hell, Mexican peso. And always look at opportunities abroad, because as of December, there was 1 million more people looking for jobs than there were jobs. And that's a really bad sign as the economy for the working class and middle class continues to slow down. So, like I said, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, because we have some big ones coming out. We love you guys as always. Donations are always incredible. Thank you for those who have been giving. We love our members here on the channel. Think about becoming one. And you know what? This one, seriously, food for thought. Have a good one.